China's economic challenges. I'm joined by Shehzad Qazi, the managing director of the China Beige book, a company that provides China research to investors. Thank you so much for joining us. Is there one thing you're particularly concerned about when you're looking at China's economy?
When you look at the economy as a whole, Max, it's a mixed picture. I think a lot of the worries around consumption slowdown are misplaced. Concerns about manufacturing just going off the rails is also not fully accurate. But the one place where there absolutely should be concern is the property market, where you have housing sales slowing, you have home builders complaining about starts going down, investment going down, and it's pretty clear that China's property market recovery is on shaky grounds and is probably going to remain that way in the coming months and years.
They've been missing expectations, haven't they? So for people like you, it's very difficult to come up with the analysis on exactly what's going to happen if they're missing expectations. And that's what creates the negativity.
That's exactly right. Now, the problem here is that in the beginning of the year, a lot of the analysts out of major Wall Street banks had published, expectations and projections of how rapidly China would come back and how big the recovery would be, which were incredibly bullish. And quite frankly, they were completely disconnected from reality. And the problem is that even though the economy is continuing to recover, because the pace of the recovery is not anywhere near the unrealistic expectations of Wall Street analysts, the sentiment has turned incredibly negative. There was never going to be a big bang, monstrous recovery in 2023. It was always going to be slow and somewhat mediocre, and that's exactly what you're getting.
It's tempting for the government, presumably, to borrow to fill this gap, but that wouldn't be healthy for the long term.
Absolutely not. Again, I think, a lot of expectations. So we've gone from expecting a consumer-driven recovery in China to now markets hoping for a stimulus-powered one. But the fact is that the days of big bang stimulus, the post-GFC world, it's over. The party is no longer interested in that kind of growth. It's no longer interested in consistently leveraging up. If anything, the attention is on deleveraging. Any stimulus you get out of China this year will be targeted, will be very narrow, and I think investors need to readjust their expectations for that type of stimulus, not the old bazooka that they're used to.
Are you encouraging clients to focus on output, for example, or the sales volume? Because when you look at those specifics, which we often associate with successful economies, they're pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, we're telling our clients to stay, constructive on a lot of the consumer names and the consumer sectors. On the manufacturing side, I think headwinds are building up, and I think that needs to be acknowledged that the second half of the year actually is where we might see real problems on the factory side. That said, if you think about commodities, if you think about property, there's an absolute slowdown, as I mentioned, and the commodities picture is nowhere near as bright as it was promised to be earlier that year. We've been urging caution this whole time.
Okay, Shehzad Qazi, managing director of the China Beige book. Thank you very much indeed for joining me today.